Okay, so last video we talked about what an accountability group or a relationship is, why you have it. The point was to grow in becoming more and more devoted to God as individuals. And we talked about kind of what the ongoing relationship would look like. So let's say now you're at the place, you've met with someone, they've agreed to start an accountability group with you. What does the first meeting look like? Well, I think the place that you start is you discuss the goal of the group. You want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Sometimes when you start talking about these things, you realize what this person is looking for from the group is totally different than what you're looking for from the group. If you're watching this video, I really hope that what you're looking for when it comes to accountability groups is giving and yielding more of yourself, more of your heart to Jesus, and not any other thing. So you start by discussing the goal, getting on the same page, making sure that you're both going after the same person, both trying to achieve the same thing, that you're not looking just to vent about your frustrations, but you're actually trying to do this so that God might take possession of more and more of your heart as you yield to Him. And so we start there, define the purpose, then talk to each other about what are some of your specific struggles, what are ways that you find yourself sinning consistently. And the goal of that conversation is not to talk about anyone else. It's not to talk about your spouse. It's not to talk about your neighbor, your roommate, your little sister, your big brother. You're not there to talk about their sin. You're there to talk about what you struggle with. And not just in terms of like, well, I got angry and I yelled. You're trying to figure out, why did I get angry? What is the heart of my sin? And sometimes your accountability partner can help you process that. If you're a more introspective type like I am, you can usually kind of get to the heart of the matter yourself. But make sure that it's clear, make sure that the other person has a real good understanding of like how you tend to struggle so that they can ask you about it when you meet up at the following meetings. The other question that sometimes comes up is, what should the privacy parameters be around a group like this? There are different people who think differently about this. There's no verse in the Bible about it. But from my perspective, I think that accountability groups should be completely private from everybody, including your spouse. And the two exceptions to that rule is when it turns out that something is happening that is either dangerous or illegal. And if someone confesses something that's dangerous or illegal and they're not able to stop, or they're not sure if they even want to stop, that's when you want to involve the authorities or you want to involve a pastor. But outside of that, I want the other person, the person who's confessing to me, know that they're just confessing to me. They're not confessing to my family. They're not confessing to the rest of the elders. They're confessing to their pastor or to their brother, their friend, and so that's where I stand with the privacy issue. Then there becomes the question of like, how much information do I share about this person I'm struggling with, like my wife? Like, how much information should I share about my wife if it's in the context of confessing sin? And my response to that question is, typically if you're focusing on what your core struggle is, you have very little reason to describe what anyone else is doing. You're not there to talk about their sin, you're there to talk about your sin. And usually, not always, but more often than not, the reason that you're trying to explain what someone else did is because you're trying to justify your own behavior. And you don't want to do that in an accountability group. The goal is to make your sin known so that you can repent of it thoroughly and that you can be restored to Jesus and serve Him more faithfully in His kingdom. So that's what a first accountability group looks like for me. I think it's important to talk about all that with your partner and make sure that you're completely on the same page.